What's up, guys? It's your girl Madison, and I'm back with another video for you guys today. And today's video, I am going to be telling my testimony, as you can probably tell by the title. And I'm just go ahead and say, you know, this video is probably going to be long. Maybe it may not be, I don't know. It may be emotional, you know, for me at least. Yeah, and I'm kind of nervous. But at the same time, I just feel like it needs to be out there. And I never would have thought that I would be nervous about making a video. It's just like Madison, you just make the video, you just put it out there. But this video just takes me back down memory lane. But anyways, I hope you guys love this video. My prayer is that anybody and everybody who comes across this video is touched and forever changed. And I just pray that you continue to seek God, whether you know him right now or you don't. We can never know God too much, ever. Like, we're always going to learn something more about him. He's always teaching us things. He's always growing us. It's never a time or a day that we're just not doing anything. So I pray that you continue to seek him and that he will continue to move in your life. And yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get right into this video. So I kind of just went in and like bracketed everything, and like, because when I talk I tend to get off topic. But we're gonna go ahead and start out with like when did all of like my hurt and pain start. When I was a child, my daddy was not around. He was not around how he was supposed to. He would come around. It was me and my sister and my mama, and he would come home back and forth, but he would never really just spend time with his family, and he was always gone. And I mean, he was just really, sometimes he was there, but even when he was there, he wasn't there. And I just remember him not really being in my life. I remember him being very trifling, I guess you could say, just for a lack of a better words, to be honest. I was young. I can't remember exactly how young I was, but I was young. When I was a child, when I was a kid, when I was younger, we lived on this road called Knight Road, and my last name is Knight, and my last name is from him, Knight. And so it was a road of all of his family. And in the middle of that road lived me and my mom and my sister and my daddy. And like I said, my daddy was never really around. He never really helped out with help my mama do much or anything. I don't remember him doing anything for us. I just really don't remember him a lot. And it's kind of weird how I started off the story, but I know I had to start somewhere. But and I remember even one Christmas my mama had to work, because she worked her tail off. She really did. She worked her tail off trying to get, you know, bring money into the house, put food on the table, clothes on me and my sister's back. And she really was the only one doing it, because my daddy was not helping her do anything. And I remember one Christmas she was at work, and I was so bummed that my mama had to work on Christmas. And I was in the living room with my daddy. Me and my sister had woke up and came in the living room, and he was just laying down on the couch on the phone, just chilling, you know. And I'm like, it's Christmas, you know, like, get down here with us, come talk to us, we want to show you our gifts. But really, you know, that's just me reflecting back on it. In that moment, I was just like, okay, you know, here's our gift. We opened them, we're showing them to him. And he was just like, yeah. And then he would turn around and get back on the phone. And, you know, it was just, you know, after we got done, you know, opening our gifts, me and Nana, we kind of sat around and waited on my mama to get home and stuff, because when she got home, that's when, like, you know, she would take us down to her parents' house, and, you know, we had real family time. You know, my daddy was not really the family type. And that's just a little memory that I have of like him, you know, like that just explains like how absent he was in our life. And growing up, I just saw him doing a lot of things that no child should ever see. You know, like, I remember him putting hands on my mama. I remember him, you know, just being so mean and stuff, and just so rude to her. And I remember him just being bad. that's what I remember of him. And you know, when I saw him abusing my mama, when I saw how mean he was to her, and I saw how, you know, my mama, and when I look back on my childhood, I really only remember my mama just crying. Like, she was always just upset because of something that he did to her, just always. And now I look back on it and I'm like, how can a person live like that? You know, how can, just how, you know? But I look back on my life, in my child life, and I just remember her crying a lot. She was always upset because of what he was doing to her. And I started seeing how he would abuse her and how he would talk to her. Hey, Winston. Hey, man. And how he would treat her. And, you know, it really got me upset. Like, at a young age, he didn't know it, but he instilled hate in me towards him. I hated him for what he was doing. I didn't like how he would put his hands on her. I didn't like how he would talk to her. I didn't like how he was never around. I didn't like any of that. I just didn't like what he was doing. And as I started like getting just a tad bit older, you know, maybe in like first grade and stuff, I remember thinking, you know, I was really scared, and I really just wanted to get away from him, because what he was doing to her and to our family, it just got worse, and it got worse, and it got worse, and it got worse. And I was tired of not being able to sleep at night because, you know, I was so scared of what he might do. You know, this is stuff that really, you know, like being woken up out of your sleep at night because, you know, you hear your daddy fighting your mama. That's really, it's really unexplainable, and it really is sad, you know. Like, no child should ever have to see that. No child should ever have to hear that. No child should ever have to go through that. And so, you know, I hated him for all of that. And, you know, my daddy was the type of person, like, you know, like if he did some dirt, he gonna do it right there in front of you. Like, he didn't try and hide it from us or anything, which was kind of, now I look back, I'm like, that's beyond me. You know, like, you really put your hands on my mama, and you talked about her, and you did all of this stuff in front of me, right in front of me. I remember this stuff plain as day. And so, you know, like I said, growing up, I hated him for that. I hated him for what he did. I hated him because of, you know, just all of the fear that he instilled in me as a young child. I was so angry at him, but I could never really take it out on him. You know, like, what was little old me gonna do? And at the time, we were going to a little daycare. It was a private daycare, and private daycare school, however you want to call it. And it was like right up the street, like 2 minutes from where we stayed. And he had relatives that owned that daycare as well. And, you know, school was kind of like my happy place sometimes, you know, because when I came there, I could get away from everything that was going on at home. You know, I felt like I could just rest and be a kid, you know. Well, I really couldn't just be a kid because that stuff constantly tormented me, you know, like what he was doing. But I just felt like, you know, I was just away from it, you know. I can just be here, you know, for now, until things would get like bad, and like we would have to stay with my mama's parents. The way the school was positioned, when we got off the interstate to come and turn into the school, they saw us. But see, if we were coming from our home and turn into the school, we lived behind the school, so they wouldn't have seen us had we been at home. So they would question me, you know, like, why are y'all coming from that way? Where are y'all staying now? Why are y'all not at home and stuff like that? And it would really make me uncomfortable because, you know, I was just scared. Like, I didn't want to say the wrong thing. I didn't want to not be able to, I didn't want to do anything that would get my mama in trouble, I guess you could say. And so that scared me a lot. I think the main thing that really scared me just back then was not being able to protect my mama. I had so many dreams and so many nightmares of like his family hurting her, you know, because I didn't tell y'all this yet, but like his parents and stuff, his family, they were just so against her. They were so against her. And I'm like, for what? Like, anybody who has met my mama knows that my mama is the sweetest thing. She really has a pure soul, and she will, you know, she will bend over backwards to help anybody, you know what I'm saying? That's just the woman that she is. So I'm just like, you know, still to this day, I'm like, why? You know, like, if they made it known that they didn't like her for whatever reason, they just did not like her. And his mama didn't like her. His daddy, he kind of, you know, straddled the fence, I guess you can say. But his sisters and brothers, they just didn't like her for no reason. They just didn't, you know. At least me as a child, I was like, why don't you like my mama, you know? And they always singled me and my sister out. Like, when Christmas time came around, they would, you know, do so much for the other kids, but they would, like, wouldn't really do anything for me and my sister. Or when our birthdays came, you know, they would do everything for everybody else, but they wouldn't really do anything for us. And, you know, I just remember, you know, in my childhood, like I said, so I grew up with hatred towards them. And I always say that God made me how I am because he knew the situation that I was in. And I always said that even before I found Christ and, like, gained a relationship with him. But I do honestly truly feel like that. My mind is everywhere right now. I remember one day, me and my daddy was in the car. And like I said, I just honestly wanted to be able to protect my mama. You know, that was my little child mind, you know, just thinking like, well, he's putting his hands on her, and so I just want to protect her. You know, I just want to protect her. You know, I honestly thought that... Okay. So, I honestly thought that, like, one day my mama wasn't gonna be here, you know. I just thought that maybe she was gonna, you know, he was gonna hurt her to the point to where she couldn't be here, you know. I just really felt sorry for her, and so I wanted to protect her. And so I was angry, and I had a lot of fight in me. You know, I had a lot of fight in me, and I was just always like, you know, I was just always looking at his family like, you know, if you do this to her, you know, I'm gonna try and do this. Or, you know, I was always observing because I always saw him hitting her, so I thought that was the same thing that they wanted to do, not to mention that they didn't like her. So that was just me. And so, like I said, I remember in the car one day I asked him, you know, why do people kill people? Because I was trying to, you know, kind of test him, and I was young, and he was just like, I don't know. And I kind of was like, I mean, I was okay with the answer, but, you know, I'm glad that he didn't give me another answer. I was trying to see what his take was on why people did the things that they did, but he never really, like, just, I mean, I don't know. So I just went with that. And, you know, forever while we were staying with him, I stood with one eye open because I was just so scared. And so finally, after it was time for me to start 3rd grade. In the little daycare that I was going to, they didn't go up to 3rd grade. They only went up to 2nd grade. So we moved to Brandon, and my mama got an apartment in Brandon. And by this time, I definitely stopped seeing him a lot. Like, he was, you know, I would see him once every blue moon. And, you know, I got to Brandon, and I'm thinking, okay, we're away from him, because that's really all I wanted, was to be away from him. I felt like my daddy was a monster, and honestly, I regretted the fact that he was my daddy, because it was just like, the only thing that you're doing is hurting me. You know, I realized that I couldn't trust nobody. Just because people are family don't mean that you can trust them. I realized that I couldn't trust him. I realized that I couldn't depend on him. I realized that, you know, I saw how he was hurting my mama physically and emotionally. You know, I saw all this type of stuff, and, you know, I just hated this man. I did. So we moved to Brandon, and I felt like, okay, we're in the safe, you know. He's not here, and I didn't want to tell him where we lived, you know. Whenever I talked to him, I didn't want to let off where we lived. But I remember sometimes I would come home, and he would be at our apartment, and I was like, wow, you know, just why are you here, you know. I remember, like, my mama being at work, and, like, she would, you know, just ask him to, like, pay, I guess, like a light bill or something, you know, just something simple, you know. because she was trying to do it all. She was taking care of me and my sister. We were moving, and she was putting us through school, and she was trying to stay in work and stuff. And I just remember he would not help her do anything. He wouldn't help her do nothing. And, you know, I watched them, you know, argue, and I watched them just not get it right. And I watched my mama get upset. You know, she was upset all the time, like I said. And so that really sent me into a depression, like in 3rd grade. And I remember sitting down with my mama at the table, and I was like, Mom, I think I'm depressed. But I don't think it really registered to her, you know, like my 3rd grade daughter just told me she's depressed. Like, what you mean? Hold on. You know, but at the same time, there was so much stuff running through my mama's mind. And I know it was because she had so much to deal with, and she had me and my sister, and I knew she wanted the best for us, and she wanted us to grow up and have a great life. And so, you know, aside from everything that she was going through, she had to get up for work every day. She had to put on a smile. She had to get us to my uncle's house so we could catch the bus, because she wouldn't let us catch the bus at our apartment, because by the time the bus came, she would have been gone. And she's such a great mama. She really is such a awesome mama. And it took me a while to know that. It took me a while to, like, not know it, but to, like, just realize and really tap into it and everything. I mean, I know my mama's awesome, but so by now I'm in 3rd grade, and I told my mom that I was depressed. And like I said, I don't think it really registered to her. So I mean, what more could I do? But like, I would just have thoughts of, like, you know, just like, if I was dead, you know, what all of this matter, you know, and like just stuff like that. And like, but at the same time, I didn't want to die, and it was weird. And like, I had anxiety, you know, I couldn't really sleep a lot of nights and stuff. I would just have nightmares of like him coming back around hurting us. And you know, I was just scared. I was upset, and I was just going through a bunch of stuff that I couldn't even explain. And so fast forward, you know, I just kept on living life, really, to be honest. Kept living. And so then we ended up moving again. We moved out of our apartment into another place in Brandon. And when we got to this place, I ended up telling her again, Mama, I'm depressed, you know. I was just so depressed. I just don't know how to. I mean, it was just like for years I was just sad. I was just depressed. And like, when other people wanted to listen to, you know, like upbeating music and stuff, I just wanted to listen to slow down music that matched my feelings and just matched what I was going through. And yeah, I mean, that's just how it was. I really cannot really explain it, except for the fact that I was just in a dark depression for years. And I loved being around people one day, and then the next day I didn't want to really be around nobody. I just dealt with it in many different ways. And so by this time I'm in like middle school. And so, not to mention that when I got to Brandon, I stood out for the simple fact that everybody else who was already there, they had known each other. Mind you, I got there in 3rd grade. Everybody else had like grew up together from like kindergarten on up and stuff. So they kind of knew each other, and I kind of like stood out. I didn't really know anybody. And so, and you know, I had an attitude. I had a bad attitude. That anger that I told y'all that was in me, I wanted to take it out on the girls at school. I did. And that's not right, but I did. And so we get into middle school and stuff, and yeah, I was very, very, very angry. I had so much stuff going on in life, you know. I didn't understand why I was the one that was depressed. I didn't understand why my daddy was the one who left us. I didn't understand why, you know, he didn't talk about what he did with us. He didn't talk about, you know, how he made me feel. You know, I was rarely even talking to him. Honestly, my mama wasn't talking about it, and nobody was talking about it. And it just seemed like you know, we were just living life and just acting like nothing ever happened, just acting like, you know, I'm not here, just acting like I'm not hurt. I was pissed, to say the least. So I would, you know, when people came up to me at school with like drama and like, you know, just girls with attitudes and stuff like that, which is normal because we were in like middle school, but I wasn't having it. I wasn't. And I was just fighting left and right, left and right, left and right. And, you know, that became something that I was doing like in middle school, in high school. I was just fighting girls all the time, just fighting, just arguing with them, you know, like I was just so angry. And of course they didn't know why I was so angry, but I was, you know, and it wasn't right for me to take it out on them, you know. It doesn't make it right on either end, but that's just my side of why I was so angry at school. You know, I tried to be this nice person, you know, but I was just very angry and just ready to fight. And a lot of my fight, I really, really, really wanted to learn how to fight, literally, because I still had that child mentality, that thing going off in my head. Like, if somebody ever, you know, came for you, Madison, what are you gonna do? Like, I saw, it really stunned me to see my daddy putting his hands on my mama like he did, and me not really be able to do anything. And I was determined that if anybody ever put their hands on me, I was gonna be able to hold up for myself. And so that's the mentality that I had. And I know it seemed weird just me even saying that, but that's what I went by. I was like, you know, that was just my mentality, or however, that's how I was thinking back then. And you know, it's so crazy because my teachers, they would be like, Madison got in trouble, or, you know, Madison did that, Madison got into a fight, because I was so good in class. I really was. Like, I got along with all the teachers. I did my work perfectly fine. When I was at school, I had good grades and stuff. Like, I never, the only time I would have detention was because I would be late to class sometimes. That's it. I was never smart enough at the teacher. I wasn't, you know, doing drugs in school or none of that type of stuff. It was only like me fighting. And so they'll always be like, but I have no problems out of her, you know, but she fought and stuff. And so, you know, I don't know, I guess like, because it kept happening, like it circulated to like different teachers that I had, and like, you know, I think they just knew, like, you know, maybe something is up that, like, you know, we just really honestly truly don't know about. But so that was that. And so I got to my sophomore year, and in the midst of me being in a bunch of drama at school, you know, not liking most of the people, you know, I was also, you know, like I said, I was depressed, I was upset, confused, and hurt, and just all that type of stuff. I was also in like different relationships, you know, like, because people would ask me to, you know, dudes liked me, they thought that I was cute, you know, and the reason why they would want to get in a relationship and the reason why I would want to get in a relationship just didn't match. It was like two totally different things, you know. They just, you know, thought that I was cute. Oh, I'm on her as my girlfriend. But I'm like, I wanted to be in relationships because I wanted to see if I could keep someone around me, you know. At times I feel like the reason why my daddy did us how he did us was because of me, you know. I'm like, so is there something wrong with me? So I wanted to have boyfriends so that I could prove to myself that, you know, you can keep somebody around, Madison, you know, you didn't run this person off, you know what I'm saying? And I just didn't want to be alone. And as I was depressed, I just wanted to have somebody to talk to. Although it didn't work out that way. But, you know, just when you really think about it, you're like, this stuff is going on. I told my boyfriend about it. This stuff is going on. I told my girlfriend about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the person who's, like, the closest to you. I mean, you're talking to them day in and day out. And so I was just like, you know, I wanted boyfriends just because I wanted them to patch up everything that I was going through. Everything that I've been through, I wanted them to patch it up. But it just didn't work. It didn't work. And my sophomore year, I was placed in, I was in my biology class, and I ended up getting into it with two girls. And so they ended up moving me out of the class with those, from those. They took me out of that class and they put me in a different class that was taught by the same teacher. And it was the same class, but it was just a different block. Okay, yeah. And so they put me in a different class, and there is when I met this boy. Now at first I didn't pay this boy any attention. He was always, I just always remember him turning around smiling at me. And I just remember him always smiling, just to be honest. And I was just like, okay, he's always happy. And I was like, but you know what? I do want to get there one day. Just one day, I want to get there. But I really didn't pay him any attention. So I'm in his class and I'm talking to the people that's in the class. And, you know, I'm just talking and being Madison, being my old self. And one day, this other boy was coming up to me. Or one day, no, this other boy started coming up to me telling me, you know, hey, this person right here likes you, you know. And he was like, you know, don't play over him, you know, because like I said, I always wanted to be in a relationship, or I just wanted a male figure around. I never honestly knew just exactly why it had to be males, but that was how it was. Don't think I was doing anything with them. No, I just wanted them to be around to like talk to them and stuff like that. And so like, I'ma just be real. When I was younger, and if this one wasn't doing what I wanted him to do, like if he wasn't being there for me how I wanted him to, I would call up this one, because they all were trying to talk to me, honestly. And that's just how it was. And not to mention, girls didn't like me because of that as well, because, you know, I feel like they didn't like the fact that like boys like me and all that type of stuff, or whatever. At least some of them didn't. But anyways, moving past that. And so he was like, don't play over him, you know, don't do him wrong or anything, which I never really looked at it as doing anybody wrong, because I feel like, you know, I'm not married, and you know, now that I think about it, I'm not sleeping with y'all, I'm just talking to y'all. So how am I doing y'all wrong? But anyway, I was just like, okay, you know, I brushed him off plenty of times, until one day this boy, he was sending me, the boy that liked me, he was giving me answers to our test, because I'm back there running my mouth and just not even focusing on the teacher. And so he was giving me answers to our test and like all that type of stuff, helping me study. So I was like, you know, okay, you know, I'm texting back and forth about class. That's how we got each other's number. I don't remember exactly how we ended up getting each other's number, but I know that we ended up getting each other's number and we started texting about that. Okay, so this watch was on so tight and I feel like my circulation, okay, anyways. So yeah, and so it stemmed from there. He would start texting me, you know, like, hey, how are you? What you doing? He was not what I was used to. I was used to hothead boys, like boys who, I don't know, always got into trouble, boys who were doing things that they weren't supposed to be doing, boys who were like, you know, popular around the school, whether it be that they played sports, or maybe they just was well known or whatever. I was in the hothead boys. So, and this boy, he wasn't a hothead. He was, you know, pretty civilized. I guess we can just say that. And so when he went, like, that's kind of why I blew him off, because my mentality back then was so off, you know. And I was just like, I don't want him, you know, he's not hot enough. He's not a hothead boy to me, you know, I don't want him. And so, you know, but we were texting and he tried talking to me, and, you know, he really did bring out my soft side, because like I told y'all, up until that point, I was just hard, you know. I was hard, and I didn't care. Like, if this boy got mad at me and didn't want to talk to me, I was like, okay, bye. I got other people to talk to. And if this girl got mad at me and didn't want to be my friend, I was like, okay, I'll fight you, and then I won't talk to you anymore. That was just how I was. I was so hothead. I had a bad attitude. And so he really brought out my soft side. And one thing that he did that other people didn't do, or other boys didn't do, is he talked to me and he became my friend. He got to know me a little bit before he asked me out on a date, or before he, you know, asked to be my boyfriend and stuff like that. And so I just remember him being so quiet. He was really quiet a lot. And, you know, that really just shows me just thinking back on it, that just shows me how much I can talk, because it would be times when we would be on the phone for hours, and by the time we went to sleep and got off the phone, I would be so tired, because I was talking the whole time, and the only thing he would be doing was like like he laughed the whole time. He was always smiling, grinning, and laughing. So he would call me and we would just sit up and talk. I would prank call my great grandma on the phone with him on there. I just had my way, honestly and truly. And, you know, so we started talking, and then we started dating. That that is kind of a blur. I don't remember exactly how all of it went, but yeah, we started dating, and for a while everything was honestly going great. It really was. Like I said, he brought out my soft side. I started, you know, telling myself, okay, Madison, you know, you're with somebody who got some morals now. You're with somebody who seem like they got something going for themselves, and you know, you don't have to be so angry, because he was so peaceful, it seemed like to me, and I'm like, I can't be bringing all this anger around him. I'm gonna run him off, you know what I'm saying? So I tried being calm, and you know, I tried working on my attitude, and that's when I officially start trying to better myself and not, you know, stop fighting, or yeah, not stop fighting, but I tried to stop fighting, stop arguing with girls, stop letting them get to me, you know, and all that type of stuff. And once again, I was just looking for him to be my peace, because I had so much chaos in my life for the longest. I was just looking for him to be my peace and just, you know, feel me. Every cracked area, I wanted him to mend it together. Every hole, I wanted him to fill it up. That's honestly what I was looking for him to do, just for a long story to be short. And I remember the first time he ended up calling me out of my name. Everything was going so good, and we got into this argument, and he called me a B word. I was like, wait, what? And I was so hurt, because I'm the type of person, I never forget anything. I don't. And I'm pretty sure that, you know, there's some details that I remember from my childhood. I'm just not gonna, you know, go into all of it on here, but I remember things a lot. And so when he said that, I remember thinking, there's no point of return, you know, just like, no, I know he didn't just call me out my name. Wait, no, for my sake, you know, you couldn't have just called me out my name, because I knew that I didn't have the strength to walk away. I didn't want to be by myself. I didn't want to be alone. So I stayed with him after he called me out my name. And I just remember telling him, you know, I would be crying on the phone to him, just telling him how he was hurting me, telling him how, you know, he was making me depressed again, not knowing that all along I really was depressed. You know, I just looked to him to make me not, you know, but you can't do that, child. You just can't do that. And as the years went on, as the months went on, really, because we were together for 2 years, but as the months went on, I realized that it just got worse and worse and worse. And so once he realized he could call me out of my name this time and get away with it, it happened again and again. And first it was the B word, then it was the H word, and then I was a SLUT, and then he would start putting his hands on me, and he would just start like choking me, or he would push me, or he would, you know, I remember one day we were at a park, and I forgot what happened, but I was just walking. I just wanted to walk home. I didn't want to ride in the car with him, but he kept pulling over in front of me. And so somebody somewhere called the police, because they were like, that it looked like he was trying to put me in the car against my will. And, you know, it was just, our relationship was very, very, very toxic. He didn't want me hanging around, you know, he really didn't want me having friends. And you know, but he wanted to have friends. And so I'm like, so why can't I have them, but you can have friends? And why is it a problem? He didn't want me to go spend the night with my grandparents. He didn't want me to do anything. He literally just wanted me to stay caged up in this house. And you know, I was just like, why is it fair for you to be able to do this stuff, but I can't do anything? I'm close. And I never really got my answer, but he just never really wanted me to, like I say, he just didn't want me to do anything. He just wanted me to just be here. And I was just like, no, that's just not how life works, you know? And so, like I said, he would put his hands on me. He would call me out of my name. He would put me on block and not talk to me. He would just do all this type of stuff. And I found out one night that he was talking to his ex, and it was just so much stuff. And I really was like in a state of shock, honestly, because I'm like, of all people, I would not have expected this from you. And, you know, mind you, this was my sophomore year going into my junior year. My junior year was my last year of high school. I graduated early and stuff, and so you know, as this stuff was just getting progressively worse, I was just losing myself. I lost Madison. You know, he wanted me to look a certain way. You know, if I went and got braids in my hair, he didn't like me. You know, it was just like, why did you take the braids out? Why didn't you keep the other hair in? You know, it was just different stuff. Like, he was trying to make me into his personal doll, and I just wanted to be free, but at the same time I wanted to make him happy because I did not want to be alone, you know. And so needless to say, I lost myself in that toxic as heck relationship. And so this past December / January, that's when I started getting sick and tired, because God ended up sending me my best friend. And at this moment I didn't know that she was my best friend, but he sent her to me, and I didn't know God really at this moment, but he sent me my best friend. And I was at work, and just on the first day she ended up walking in there, and I was like, you know, you weren't at training with us or anything, but you know, I really didn't, you know, care, because at first we really didn't talk to each other. We were on opposite sides, you know. We really didn't see each other much at work because we were, you know, yeah, if you have ever worked in my job, you know what I mean. We were on opposite sides. And so one day she ended up getting moved to my side, right beside my table. And so I'm like, okay, you know, like I said, I didn't think anything of it, but we ended up, as soon as we started talking, you know, we just hit it off immediately. Just, my dog is bad. But we hit it off immediately, and you know, I started venting to her and talking to her about my problems just like this, because you know me, I don't know, it was just so natural with me and her. It's just like I knew that I could trust her. I just knew. And so I started talking to her, and she told me about how she went through some of the same things with a past relationship that she had, but it was like worse. And she was just telling me, you know, you should just leave. You know, you should leave because, you know, you just need to leave before you can't leave. And so I kind of, I'm the type of person, I want to make things work. And when I walk away, I want to be able to say that I tried, so I don't have any regrets. And so I stayed with him. And it just got increasingly worse. Like, he would come and try and argue with me in front of my parents. He would take my phone, and I would have to come in and ask my mama to call my phone, and she knew what was up, but I don't think she really wanted to face everything. And so, you know, it was just like, it was so toxic. Like, me crying became the normal. Me being upset, me being depressed, me, you know, not being able to sleep, just turning over, just it became normal. All of that type of stuff became normal. And so in December / January, I began, you know, making the decision for Christ. You know, I never forget, I was on the phone with my best friend one night, and she was like, I was just telling her all the reasons why we didn't go to my old church. And I was just saying, you know, we don't go there anymore. I don't know another church to go to. And, you know, I was just like, my mama don't take us to church anymore. And I'll never forget, she told me, she was like, Mehmet, with you being 18 and having a car, it's really no excuse. It's really just no excuse for you not to go to church. So immediately I was like, this Sunday I'm gonna go to Word of Life. And you know, I wanted her to come with me, and she was supposed to come with me, but I got to church and I was waiting on her, and she texted me and she was like, my boss asked me to come downtown. She had to go to her job. So I was like, that's weird, on a Sunday of all days, you know, you ask her to come today. But I just took a leap of faith, and I just went ahead and I went in the church. And because I was so broken at this point, you know, I was so broken. I didn't know who I was. I was just a mess. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what I liked. I was doing things to make others happy, to make him happy and not myself. And so I was broken. I felt like I was gonna need him for the rest of my life. So I was always on edge, thinking like, if he just came in today and told me that he didn't want me or that he didn't need me, I was just gonna fall over and die, because, you know, that's how bad I feel like I needed him. So I went to church, and Word of Life is a big church, so to say, especially when you're going by yourself and you're new to like just church. Honestly, you know, I was beginning this journey by myself, So I went in there, and this woman, which is my church mama, and this will be another video, she saw me, she was like, you can come sit with me, Mind you, I've never known this woman in my whole life. And during the church service, during worship and everything, it was just like God was speaking to me. It was like he was just telling me, I got you. I'll never forget the song they sang. It's called Reckless Love, but it said, leaves the 99. It just talked about how God will leave everybody else who's already good. You know, they're in good comfort. They know him. You know, they're in good. They're kept. And he chased me. And I just fell to my knees. I just cried. Because I realized, God, you are real. You know, you are real, and you love me, and I am somebody. No matter what my daddy showed me, I am somebody. No matter what this boyfriend of mine told me, I'm somebody, and I'm worth something. And you know, I have self-worth. And it was just so many emotions running through my mind. And so, you know, every Sunday I made it a point to be there. I was there. And I would sit with her, and we would worship together. And she would just, you know, be there for me. I would text her all the time. And, you know, as I began going to church and praying and building a relationship with God, I realized that this person right here just wasn't the one for me. You know, and, you know, that really is what drove me into Christ. I was going to keep going, but that's what a testimony is, you know, just how did you get to Christ? And God can, what I was doing was I was looking for humans, to fill the voids in my heart and to love me unconditionally and give me that unconditional love that I felt like my daddy just didn't give me. And what God was telling me was like, baby, they can't do that. They got holes and cracks and stuff that they need mended up themselves. How they gonna feel yours? And he was just like, you know, only I can do that. And he spoke that to me so clearly. And I just remember surrendering to him. You know, I was praying that relationship would work, and it just wouldn't. And every time I would pray, something horrible would happen between us two. And so I knew that it was God calling me out. I knew he was. And so I was like, God, you know what? I don't know what you doing. And I know that you know that this is out of my element. You know that I am used to being up under somebody. I'm used to looking to other people to give me hope and peace. But you know what? You can have him. You can get him out of my life. And I am yours. And you can do whatever you want with me, because I trust you. And, you know, he just let me know that even though my daddy here didn't love me or show me how much he loved me, or whatever the case may be, he didn't love me unconditionally, God showed me that he did. So it didn't matter, because nobody on this earth loves me like Jesus loves me. Nobody. And so, you know, I left that relationship. And, you know, all I can say is nobody but God. Nobody but God. After 18 years of all that pain and all that hurt, you know, I officially decided to walk away and leave it all. You know, when I was in that relationship, it really, I realized that I had got with the person who was just like my daddy. And when I decided to leave that relationship, I left my daddy alone as well. You know, I didn't leave him alone, but everything that he did to me, I just left it there. I forgot this little piece, but I think I was in like high school or maybe middle school. One day I just texted my daddy and let him know how I felt. I let him know how angry I was. I let him know that I did not like him. I let him know that I knew what he had done, and I blocked him for the longest. And it's like God spoke to my heart one day, and he was just like, unblock him and just tell him you love him. And I did that. And, you know, I just left all that hurt and pain back there, because the way God grabbed me and delivered me from that relationship, from that depression, from that sorrow, from those tears, from that hurt. The way he delivered me from my childhood pain, the way he delivered me from that bad attitude and that bad mentality that I had. I got no hate to force on anybody. You know, I don't hate my daddy. I don't hate that boy that I was with. I don't. I love them to death, you know. It just, you know, I mean, I love everybody. And God has showed me that there's beauty in everything, you know. And I love them for everything that they did, because had they not did what they did, I would have never found Christ. And God is so awesome. He's so great, because I'm standing here and it's like, what, 4 or 5 months later from when I decided to just let them go. You know, I let the boy go, and I just decided to allow God to heal me and just take me. I just decided to follow God. And with my daddy, I put the pain behind me, and I've decided to just move on, because I am responsible for how I act towards him. I'm responsible for my action towards him, no matter what he did to me. I'm responsible for how I handled it. So I left that stuff, you know, about 5 months ago, and I just decided, you know, God, I'm done with that. Like, you know, I'm done being a victim. I'm done. I want to be a victor. And the way God grabbed me and just loved on me and delivered me and just showed me, girl, I got you, it's just unreal. It's unreal. You know, like I said, that was 5 months ago that I left 18 years of just tragic hurt and pain, depression, just everything. 18 years of it. I left it 5 months ago, and here I am today. I'm just so joyful. I just got a peace that's running in me that can't nobody take, you know, because the world didn't give it to me, so they can't take it from me. And I hope this video really has touched some people. That is my prayer. Winston, don't eat those, man. That is my prayer. And like I said, I just pray that you guys will, continue to search for God, because when you search for him and when you realize who is in authority and whose child you are and who you are, to whom you belong, oh my goodness, he can just pour out into your life in ways that you never even thought. And he's done it for me, and he's gonna continue to do it, and I know he is. And yeah, I just want to thank you guys for watching this video, and I pray, like I said, that you guys will continue to seek after him, because when you seek him, you will find. And yeah, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, turn on your notification bell, and comment down below any other videos that you would like to see from me. And yeah, that's all for today. Bye, y'all.